Hi, I'm Philip, and in this video I will have a look at the Einscan Rigil. This is like the first part where I'll be doing unboxing and get my first impressions about what does this come with, how does it feel like in the hand, and what's like the build quality. In future videos I will also be looking, of course, at the scanning performance more thoroughly and compare to other scanners and simply use the scanner in my day-to-day projects and give you like feedback on what it is most suited for and what is the workflow of scanning. This is a landed unit by the Einstar team, so I must thank them for making it possible so that I can try out the scanner. So let's first unbox it. So we have this packaging with a very cushiony foam in it, so it doesn't arrive damaged. So let's first look. We have a power brick. This is a proper USB-C power brick. It looks quite similar to the one included with the Einstar Rockit. It's 65 watts and it's like a regular PD, so power delivery power brick. Then we have a small, it's not even very small. It's I would say a good sized cleaning cloth for the lenses and the display. It's actually, I think I saw Einstar branding. No, it's Ryzen, Python. Okay, it's a display cleaning cloth. And then we have the main piece, the scanner itself and its packaging. So let's get box away and have a look at the scanner. So this is also a cloth. It's not a hard case, it's more like cloth, and underneath there's plastic and very, I would say, hard foam with a textile inlay. And the good thing is you have a carrying handle, and you can even attach some straps, some shoulder straps. But let's unbox the scanner now. And when opening the packaging, you immediately see the main piece. It's the Einscan Rigil, sorry. And before I take it out of the packaging, we will have a look at this stand. This is used for placing the calibration board and for securely laying down the scanner while not using it. I can already spoiler, I'm currently in the process of designing some protective rubber guards that can be printed from TPU for the scanner. But let's continue. We have 2 packs of batteries. We'll look later. Then we have it's like a charger for the batteries. The batteries itself, they are 21700 batteries, so regular prismatic lithium-ion cells. So that's quite nice that they don't use any proprietary standard of battery. So they're not even like Einstar branded or locked, so you can get any battery, but if you want to get spare batteries, maybe have a look that you buy proper ones. Then we have a marker removal tool. This is like a plastic scraper that you can use to remove markers from surfaces. And regarding markers, we have quite a lot of markers included in the packaging. So there are I guess one of them is 500 markers, so this should be 2000 6mm markers and maybe 500 of 3mm markers. So 6mm is for like regular size parts or medium size parts, 3mm is for smaller parts. Keep in mind the markers are basically consumables, so of course you can use such a scraping tool to remove the marker after applying, but as soon as the surface is scratched, so the reflective surface of the marker is scratched, you should dispose them, since then tracking performance will degrade. What's also quite nice with the Rigil, the scanner itself supports 12mm markers in near-infrared mode. That's quite huge for me, because then I can use marker tracking for the whole tracking distance of up to 1.5 meters. And with the 6mm markers, this wouldn't work. Then we have a USB cord. And now let's look at the top section before having a more thorough look at the unique items. There we have a calibration board in this velvet textile cover. We have a shoulder strap that can be attached to the case, but I will, for the moment, leave it in there. I think it's very good that it has like a proper storage position. So you can just keep it in there, and at some point you may need it, as I did with my Rockit on like a weekend trip. You can just put it out. And we have just a short card with all the contents and yeah, a QR code to the user manual. But I would say for the Rigil, it is quite self-explanatory. But yeah, it's not bad looking at the manual. I must confess to myself, because you will always discover new information about a scanner. But let's take away the case now, and maybe let's start with the biggest part, the calibration board. The calibration board itself, it's noticeably bigger than on the Rockit. We will later have a direct comparison. But yeah, I would say it's made from some kind of glass, but it's maybe like quartz glass. And of course you have the QR code. When handling the calibration board, don't touch the front surface, so the white surface, since then you may get worse calibration results. And the same applies for the backside, since the backside is used for wide offset calibration. But now let's securely store it in the bag and put it away for the moment. Now, next, let's look at the USB cable. The USB cable itself, it is mainly used if you want to either connect the scanner to the PC for like data transfer, connect the scanner to the PC for scanning, but for like PC assisted scanning, which then is faster, or you can use it. Also, you can also use the assisted scanning over Wi-Fi. So most likely this cable will be like a fallback in the back, because sometimes if you are in like a higher F environment, or like you're in a building block or office environment with a lot of Wi-Fi devices around there and a lot of different Wi-Fi networks, Wi-Fi performance may be not sufficient to allow wireless scanning. But personally, I haven't encountered this case, but I just try to keep the cable in the case. Then next we will look at the charging setup. We have this charger. It's just a regular charger. You have a like USB-C to USB-C cable included that you can then use with the power brick, and we have 4 batteries. The Rigil uses 2 batteries at a time, so you have like 2 full sets of batteries, but you can also use the Rigil with a power bank, and then it also uses the power bank for working with the device and charging the batteries. So theoretically, you wouldn't even need to change them out while scanning, or if they're empty. But I will just most often I prefer charging the batteries in the charging case, because then I don't have downtime. Because when I notice the batteries to be empty, it's normally while scanning. I didn't use the Rigil a lot until now. I just did a short test. But basically the same applies for the Einscan Rockit, it's called, and the Einstar 2. So these are just the findings for the Einstar Rockit. And I currently think they can be quite good translated to the Rigil. What's also quite nice, the charging case itself, it only consumes 10 watts max, so 5 volts at 2 amps. But it's nice that they provided a proper 65 watts power supply. They wouldn't have need to, so this is like a good power supply. You can also use for charging your notebook theoretically, or your smartphone, your tablet. And you have 2 USB-C outputs, so it's quite handy and it fits good in the case. So let's put these to the side. You also already looked at the markers, so we will also place them to the side for later use when doing a small test. And now let's power up the Rigil, or let's first look at the Rigil and then power it up. You can see on the top we have the OLED screen. It's like not like IPS screen, it's an OLED screen. It's quite nice. And here in the front you see the the full power of its sensors. You have like the 3 holes here in the middle. They are for the laser emitters. So you have 38 crossed lines and 7 parallel lines for like smaller features, or for a bit more of depot scanning. Then here in the top we have near-infrared emitters used for the near-infrared scanning mode. Then we have the texture camera and the 2 depth cameras used for laser scanning. And we also have 2 additional wide-angle cameras used for near-infrared scanning. I guess it is also used for tracking in the markerless laser scanning, but I'm not completely sure how this is done. I guess in future tests when I compare it to the Einstar Rockit in all the different scan modes, because the Rigil supports markerless laser scanning, the Rockit supports markerless laser scanning, but the Rigil has like a better hardware layout for this, because you also have like these 4 infrared LEDs or infrared fill lights. So yeah, and we have the texture camera is quite big, so it's a 5 megapixel texture camera. Here on the side we have vents, cooling vents. On this side too. Then here, I guess this is a small speakers grill, and we have the USB-C plug and the power button on top. From the outside, I would say this is all of the relevant parts. Now let's put in the battery and boot up the scanner. So, and when inserting the batteries, on the side of the handle you have the direction indicated. So the positive side goes down. I'm not completely sure if the scanner is damaged if you insert them wrongly. I guess not. It would be quite inconvenient if it would be so, but just pay attention to this topic. So now I have booted up the scanner. I just moved the camera a bit closer. And first thing is selecting the language. We will be using English. Now I will agree to the Euler with reading it very carefully now. And next step is connecting to a Wi-Fi network. You can also skip this step and use the scanner completely offline, but I will connect it to my Wi-Fi so it simply performs automatic firmware updates if there is a new release. Maybe at this point I must mention, so I tried the Rigil initially at Formnext in November. And at Formnext, they already used a beta firmware update that allows markerless laser scanning on the scanner standalone. So maybe talk a bit about the software history of the scanner, or like the release cycle, if I can call it like this. Initially, when it came out, the markerless laser scanning only worked when the scanner was connected wired to the PC. Then there was quite quickly a firmware update that also allowed markerless laser scanning with wireless connection to the PC. And at Formnext there also was the next better firmware version where markerless laser scanning could be used directly on the scanner itself, so without any PC connection. From what I know, there will be like the proper release in the near future. I don't know the exact date, but they mentioned there will be also some other quite nice additions, but I guess we will see, and when it comes out I will of course make a video about it, because I'm waiting quite patiently or impatiently for the markerless laser scanning on the scanner itself. But let's now connect to the Wi-Fi, and for this I will just move out of the screen for a short minute. I hope you aren't annoyed by my video style. I personally prefer using some, I would say, one take videos, because then I have less cutting time or cutting work, and for this I can just focus on my projects and actual the content about the scanners and testing the scanners, instead of creating very cinematographic videos. But maybe this will change in the future, but I don't know. So next step is logging into your Shining 3D account. You can still also skip this step. So none of this is compulsory, but I will do so. Just so my device is registered to my account. So you first insert your mail address, and then you get verification code over email. And one funny thing, there is a captcha, and the login was successful. So this is a pretty fast process. And now we're right into the scanner. First thing is a short tutorial of how to use the scanner. That you have the two main scanning modes of laser and infrared, also it's near infrared scanning. Then you have the adjustment panel for the resolution and the different alignment modes for the different laser scanning modes. You have your brightness control, and then you have the scanning distance, especially in infrared scanning. And you can have your different overlays for like a data quality indicator if you directly want to see the texture display. And you have your like group your file history, because the scanner itself has 1 terabyte of SSD storage on itself, so you can store quite a lot of scan data. Maybe talk a bit more about the hardware now. Before I forget it, you have 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and I just had the I would say sad obligation to buy 128 gigabytes from my workstation, and RAM prices these days are quite painful. So yeah, good the scanner has plenty of it. You have like a proper SoC in it with a GPU. I don't know the exact specs at this moment, but the scanning works fine, so I don't know if it is too relevant for now. And then we are already finished and we can start scanning. But first, let's have a bit more look at the different UI elements. So sliding from the top down, you have like a typical control interface, as you may see on your other devices. We have the calibration option, we have screencasting. So screencasting is quite a nice feature. There you can basically cast the screen of the scanner to any like external screencast display, if you're like in a conference room or a workshop environment where you have like smart displays. And you can also directly cast to any smartphone where it like opens a browser window with the preview of with the live feed of the scanner. So this is nice when you're handling the scanner above your head for tall parts. Then you can just keep an eye on it when scanning, or keep an eye on it on your smartphone. So this is quite nice. We also have the hotspot option, where it will create its own hotspot to then connect your PC to for wireless scanning with the PC. We have the USB drive mode, where you can pull down the scan data using a USB drive, and we can of course connect to the PC software. Then we have like the switch for dark and light mode. I personally prefer dark mode all the time. And we have the screen brightness. So since this is an OLED screen, it gets quite bright. But now let's have maybe a bit more of a look at the exact settings. We have account details, which I will blow out. Then we have the option for software updates, which currently we're on the latest version. We can do the calibration routine. We have the Wi-Fi setting. We have the hotspot setting, where you can even change the Wi-Fi name and Wi-Fi password. Language settings for display, date, time, which is for me Berlin, the Berlin time, like this. And we will use the 24-hour system. We have storage setting. Currently 100 megabytes of 1 terabyte is used, and we have about where you can also completely reset your device. So after looking at the Rigil, we can now maybe have a bit of an external comparison to the Rockit. So what does it come with? Are the accessories similar? And how is the hardware layout looking from the outside? The Rockit, it came out I think in September last year, the Rigil in August. And the main difference is, of course, the Rigil is a standalone scanner with like its own screen, its own inside computer, whereas the Rockit always needs to be tethered to a PC, either by wire or wireless. The Rockit also is like a bit less performant or less competent in the infrared scanning and laser scanning, especially on the spec sheet. So for the Rigil, you have actual accuracy specs. For the Rockit, there are none. And you simply have like the additional set of cameras on the Rigil and a bit more infrared stuff, but we will look at this shortly. Comparing the sizes of the cases, I would say maybe there is a size factor of, it could even be that the Rigil has double the size of the case or double the volume. When opening the cases, the basic set layout is pretty similar, but it's now take out the accessories and all the stuff, so we can look at them a bit more in detail and a bit more in the comparison. So I will create two spots for each scanner, and then we can compare them. So, and of course the calibration boards on the top, which also will be different. So like this. Now let's move away with the big cases, so we have more space. Let's first look at the two calibration boards. So here we have the one for the Rigil, and here we have the one for the Rockit. I didn't have the difference to be quite this large in mind, but it's roughly, I would say, the Rigil's board is maybe 2/3 larger or 3/4 larger. So this will, of course, also show in the increased calibration distance for the infrared mode. But yeah, this is mainly limited to the case size, I would say, to the storage bag size. Now let's put them away, and we can have a bit more of a look to the accessories. So the two battery chargers, they are basically the same, so nothing too interesting and different about there. Then we also have the same power bricks included at both scanners, and we have exactly the same type of battery included. Difference is the Rockit comes with two batteries, the Rigil comes with 4 batteries, simply because the Rigil uses 2 batteries at a time. So they are quite similar. Then the USB cables, they also look to be very similar. I mean, it's standard USB-C, I would say USB 3.2 cables, so there cannot be much of a difference. The length looks to be quite similar. And now to the scanners itself. You see, both scanners come with this sort of plate. For the Rockit, it is only used to while the calibration to place the board or to angle the board. For the Rigil, it's also used as like a resting plate for the scanner itself to protect it. They seem similar. The only difference is on the Rigil version there is like some rubber inserts, I guess. It's a bit more expensive to manufacture it like this. And now looking at the scanners itself, you can see the size difference is quite large. So of course on the Rigil we have the battery handle that has to fit 2 of the big 21700 batteries. So if we place one next to it, 2 of them have to fit in there. And in the Rockit you only have one inside the grip with this nice magnetic cover. On the Rigil the cover is has a latch. It's a bit like on a camera, and I quite like that they currently are using all the same batteries. So even for the more expensive FreeScan lineup with the FreeScan Omni, the new one, and the FreeScan Nova, they all use the same batteries by now. That's quite nice. Then the most interesting part, I would say, will be the scanning array or the sensors. I don't know, take a mindful approach in placing scanners, or the scanners down the table. And let's place them like this, and you can immediately see the difference. I mean, we're moving the camera a bit more down. And what you immediately notice, on the Rigil you have more cameras. On the Rockit they seem a bit bigger, or at least the lenses seem a bit bigger. But looking at specs, especially the texture camera on the Rigil is 5 megapixels. On the Rockit, I think it's just 2.3 megapixels. Also, what's a big difference, on the Rigil you have these additional cameras used for infrared scanning, and you have the additional infrared fill lights you're not having on the Rockit. Furthermore, you have only 2 of the infrared emitters on the Rockit, and on the Rigil you have 3 of them. So I simply expect more performance in infrared scanning, but I would say time will show, testing will show. So currently it's only my guesswork. And one additional point is that the standoff distance, so the distance between the 2 cameras, is significantly smaller on the Rockit. So if I hold it next to it, it's maybe a fourth, it could be a fourth smaller or fifth smaller. and this will show in the like hole scanning performance. So if you want to scan deep holes, it is very beneficial to have a closer distance between cameras, because for scanning to work, both cameras need to see the emitted laser lines at a time. And if the cameras are closer together, the hole can be deeper, because like the walls or the edges of the hole won't cut off the view. But yeah, I would say this is like the start of the comparison. I will, of course, also look at the scanning performance in comparison. But yeah, maybe weight-wise, I would say the Rigil weighs roughly 3 times as much. But I will now have a look at my... Yeah, okay. The scale I have here is only for 300 grams. But I guess just look at the spec sheet if you are so concerned about weight. Both are quite comfortable to hold. The Rigil feels a bit more secure because you have this proper handle. On the Rockit you hold it from the side like this.